I'm starting the video now. I am doing an iPress massage with Randy. My first time.
Yep. This is a kind of a teaching.
Face down.
Talk a little like.
Okay. Do you want me to take my clip out of my hair or leave it?
Yeah, take it out. It's good. It'll come out later.
Okay.
Working the head.
So is this okay?
Arm back. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Because again, you always want to start with your feet. And that kind of tunes me into your intuitive, body. And it's always, so that's a good feedback, like how sensitive that area was. Feet might be cold. But again, I switch over to my hands really quickly. And again, I'm going to do a real light one, but if any area is too painful, just say easy, and then I'll do it even lighter.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Thank you for that.
This is the first time you're kind of getting to know the person's body as well, and you're getting to know what ipress feels like, so I don't want you to have a bad experience. I used to work on the mayor's wife, Vicki Malloy, and she says, I really like what you do, Randy, because you get in there and you change things. Like some massages are just like, on the surface.
Well, that's exactly what I need.
Yeah. But again, because of your trauma from the past, we may have to work slowly to get to the point where I can get in there and change things. Because basically what we're trying to do is get you to release the trauma that's stored in your connective tissue.
Yeah.
And I think I mentioned to you.
I'm enthusiastically all for that.
Yeah, but
It's
again.
been way too long. It's been
Well,
15 years.
Yeah, with, it's like, the other thing is, it's like, how long have you carried that trauma? And so it could take a while to let it all go, So that's, you can't, something that took years to create can't be, eliminated in a few sessions. And my friend lady, she worked on me a year and a half. I think I got 2 massages a week because we were, boyfriend, girlfriend. So we'd be watching television and I'd say, hey, could I get a massage tonight? She'd think about it and she'd say, okay, go get the mat.
That's great.
And then she would sit in the couch.
Relationship goals.
Yeah, she'd sit in the couch and put her feet on my back. And this is called the shoe shine. Like going back and forth. So she would do that with the sides of her feet and the toes, and so she could basically sit in the couch, watch TV, and give me a massage. And the only time she could get down and use her hands is when she worked on my neck and my head. So. That's a kind of an interesting story. She was living in Macomb, Mississippi, and she got a job as a department store perfume saleswoman. But the thing is, they had to wear high heels.
Oh no.
So she went to work every day in these high heels, and you're standing on your feet for 8 hours. So the shoes pushed her big toe under the rest of her toes. And so she started having this excruciating pain in her toe, you know. So she told her girlfriend Amy, and Amy said, "Oh, well, you should come talk to my father. He's developed a new technique called ipress." And so lady limped to John Kazort, Amy Kazort's dad, and she showed him her foot and asked if he could help, and he says, yeah, I could fix that in 5 minutes, but it's going to hurt like hell. And she says, do it, you know. So he massaged her foot and got the big toe to come out from under the other toes and back into place. And it was so impressive to her that she became his apprentice. And she learned, so every week or so they would meet, and he would work on her and she would learn to work on him. And then he had like a big futon bed in his living room. You know, it could either be a couch or a futon. So he would stay at home all day, and people would come to his house and he'd give these massages, you know. So anyway, a lady, she was sent to Fairfield. I think I told you there was a woman whose son had spina bifida, and it's a bad curvature of the spine, you know. So she was looking for people to treat her, and she had heard about John Kazort because he had worked for the Miami Dolphins as a massage therapist, because Miami's close to Louisiana, I guess. So anyway, she went to John Kazort and told him about her son, just a 12-year-old or something. So he set lady and another woman up as apprentices to work in Fairfield. And so that's how I was able to, that's why lady was in Fairfield. I mean, she hadn't learned to meditate or anything. So, and the whole concept of, it's kind of like, even if I was going to work on you harder or deeper, the trauma is kind of like in layers.
Oh yeah.
You have to let the surface layer out, and then you can go a little deeper, and little by little. I used to learn something too by watching yesterday. It turned out pretty nice. Ed seemed to like you and want you to be involved in some things. Lady used to poke at the sides of my thighs. Supposedly, that's where you hold emotional trauma. And she would take her finger and poke, and she said, "You feel that?" And I would like, "Ow, ow, ow." And then she says, "That's death." So the whole concept is, if you let emotional trauma stay long enough, it can start to affect the lymph system and See, that's the big theory is, in fact, John Kazordi says, people's lymph systems, they treat them like septic tanks. But that's bad, they're supposed to flow like a river. And so the massage can help the lymph flow and become less stagnant. And the byproduct is more emotional happiness and healthier lymph, which means healthier immune system. And so you want your lymph to flow like a river. But the only way you can get it, 3 ways you can get it by exercising, because the muscles squeeze the lymph. You can get a massage, or you can get it by psychotherapy, emotional release. That if you let the trauma go, then the body part will heal itself.
There is a metal bar on that ankle, just FYI.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. And the other cool thing about ipress is it's an open body of knowledge. Like, I actually invented this move where you're taking both feet and rubbing the sides. What Lady used to recommend was, like when you're in the bathtub, to soak, and that makes the lymph, more accessible. Because it's funny, the lymph can actually harden and become like as hard as a kidney bean or something, if it's been there long enough, And that's so anyway, you soak your body, and then you lather up your feet and you ipress yourself, through while you're in the tub. So that's a healthy thing to do.
I wish I had a tub. I just have a little shower thingy. I don't have a tub, but I've been looking for, my own place with a bathtub and with a fireplace, and it's just carpet also. And it's just hard to find these days. For what's available in my budget.
So what amount of rent are you
Well, I'm paying a little over $600 with utilities included for a studio apartment, very small.
Yeah.
There's not even room for like one other person to even stay the night. It's a very small studio. And I'm really wanting to own a home because, I have opportunities for loans in that regard. I just, I'm such a free bird. I don't know where I want to settle down because home ownership is really settling down.
Yeah, that's true.
So do I want to settle down, where? I don't know where I want to settle down. Or, even if I want to. I actually do. I do want to settle down. I just don't know where. It could be anywhere in the whole country. I want to go somewhere warmer. I like warm weather.
Yeah.
So it's probably going to be more west or south.
Yeah, I came, lived Virginia, North Carolina, California, but I came to Fairfield when I was 23. And I've left twice. I lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, I was there before I came here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a great place.
Yeah.
But it's very expensive,
Oh, yeah.
I
I like it there. I like it everywhere in New Mexico.
yeah.
I might, go there for when I
Well,
settle
the
down.
nice, it's got the, it's not very humid, so even if it is warm, you dehydrate.
Well, Santa Fe actually had a lot of summer storms.
Oh,
Yeah, it had a lot of rain.
well, the the weather is really changing with the climate change.
Yeah. You know, the government's been manipulating the weather with all their stupid chemtrails for a long time, and now it's just starting to really, you know, show. Blame the government for everything, huh?
Well,
It's a
I
joke.
heard that they've been measuring the sea level on the East Coast, and in the last 15 years it's been going up 1 centimeter every year. So at some point they're saying that there's going to be flooding inland because of the raising of the sea level. You know?
I actually saw recently in the news about California had flooding. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that. But I mean, they've always talked about California falling off, you know. With the earthquakes.
A lot of really severe weather is California is the target for that.
Well, years ago, Marishi said that one day Fairfield will have weather like Santa Barbara, which, yeah. So, I mean, our winters haven't been that as tremendously cold as they. I remember in '87 we had it was 40 below for like a week.
Oh no.
Yeah, and it was like dangerous, you know, like.
I would imagine.
There was like a foot of ice outside my house, you know, and if you were to slip and get hurt and get stuck, you know, I mean, you could die out there.
Oh yeah. That's why I was really stressing the issue of homelessness here in Fairfield because it is fatal weather. And it's the middle of the night, you know, in the winter time. You wouldn't last an hour out there in the homeless.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I mean, there's not as many homeless here as, like, say, Iowa City or Des Moines, you know.
Unfortunately, very sadly, you know, there's homeless people like in every city.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're rural or anything.
Well, you know, next time you see Ed, you should talk to him. He rents some apartments, like he has a sixplex over on Broadway, just I think it's 503 West Broadway, kind of just like a block from here, you know. I rented an apartment from him, and I think it was $450 plus utilities. You know, so.
I think that's what I'm paying for mine.
So, the point is, you might get more space, you might get a bathtub. You know,
Yeah, carpet.
Yeah. Well, you know, that the Landmark Inn, you know, it doesn't have the best reputation. In the past, it used to be run like not by meditators, you know, and then Sam Beckley bought it. I don't know if you know the owners, but have you met Michelle?
No, I just the current owners. He's a really I want to say cheap. He's not willing to invest any money, and that's just to me that's not good ownership. You know, a good ownership is you know keeping it up nice, and he's kind of just letting it go. I mean, because we have, including myself, tenants that are reminding the owner, like, hey, these things we should install surveillance cameras. There's thefts every day here, etc. And you know, the roof is leaking water, you know, and he's just really cheap in any kind of repairs.
Now, it's not Chris Johnson, is it?
It is.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't know he bought that.
He's not willing to invest any money.
Well, you know, the thing too is you gotta find a unit. He has a ton of units down there.
Yeah, they told me he has like 100.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah.
Come on.
My friend Jalon, she rents from him, and she's got a 2-room apartment that you can see the clock tower from her second story, you know. That's the location. And it's pretty nice, you know. I mean, it's not really. I mean, maybe she's got complaints. But, you know, ideally you turn your face the other direction. Huh? There you go. Some people can barely turn their necks sometimes. You just whipped it. Okay, remember, if I push too hard, you say easy. Long is one of my, I pressed her for a while. She was in a car wreck too. Some guy ran a stop sign. Her mother's from Taiwan, Bonnie White. So, Bonnie used to have a place called Bonnie's Deli where they give you all the Chinese food you could eat for $6.99 or something. That was great. But then she got a boyfriend and he said, you know, you'll make more money if you make this a coffee house. So she became a Second Street Coffee. But then she retired and
There is a Chinese buffet restaurant here. Have you ever eaten there? It's like $9.99 to lunch.
Like an Imperial buffet?
Yeah.
Yeah, we like that.
I've been there once and I didn't ever go back because I didn't like it too much. It was okay,
Yeah.
but there's something about it made me not want to return.
It's a little heavy, you know. Ping is she's a friend of mine, but it's a little oily, you know. But what my wife and I do is we get food to go, and they weigh it. So we can get 2 to-go containers filled with, you know, like in the evening they have coconut shrimp, and they have salmon, and they have...
Wow, what, Imperial?
Yeah, at night their menu is better.
I didn't even know they were open at night. I thought they were just lunch.
No,
That sounds good.
yeah, and they have salmon, and they have mussels, and they have, what's that other dish that I like? They have this thing called bourbon chicken my wife really likes. And they have string beans, so the point is you get to pick and choose, and you don't, see, if I go there and I pay the full $9, $10, I'll get like 3 plates and get stuffed, you know. But if we just pick enough to fill the to-go containers.
But whatever you just did on my arm, I felt my lymph kind of like draining, for lack of better words.
Mm-hmm. Good.
It was good. It was really noticeable.
Crazy. Well, you know, that's the hard thing, is there is kind of a barrier, like, I don't really know what you're feeling. But, so basically what I'm doing is I'm eye-pressing you the way I would eye-press myself.
Okay.
So,
Well, it's really great so far. I mean, I've never had a massage like this, but I'm very much enjoying it.
oh, good,
I really didn't know what to expect.
yeah. Oh no, you scored with, like the best kept secret in town. Well, you know, again, I was fortunate. When I was 42, I think, I met Nadine, or Lady was her name. Her parents were really into King Arthur, and so they named their son Lance and their daughter Lady. And so her name was Lady Con, C-O-N-N. Kind of funny, like Con Lady. But
Some people have funny names, huh?
But she kind of got in trouble at school. Or I think her father hit on her and she punched him in the stomach once and got sent to a private school, like a military school. But she became really disciplined and moved up in the ranks until she was like the lieutenant, you know, like the highest ranking. And they had archery there, so she started learning how to do bow and arrow work, you know. And So later she renamed herself Lady Archer because she didn't really like con, con lady. And then she moved here, we were here we dated for about 3 years or so. And I wanted to marry her, but we moved to Olympia, Washington, and she couldn't find anyone to work on. Like in the phone book, there's 200 massage therapists. And she didn't have a license, so you can't really advertise unless you have a license. So God told her to go to Olympia, and she goes there and can't work on anybody, so she got real depressed. So I had to pull out my teaching certificate, and I got a job teaching at a school called Learning is Fun Every Day. And I was the 5th and 6th grade math and science teacher. So I was pulling in $1,600 a month, and that kept us afloat enough to. But one night I had a dream that she was massaging the mother of one of my students. So the lady took that as an omen, so she approached the lady, and sure enough, the lady wanted a massage, and that became her first client. She was kind of rich.
I really think that we have guidance in our dreams.
Yeah.
Not all dreams, but some.
Yeah. So anyway, lady, she also got a job as a secretary at the school I'm at, and she broke her ankle, some bones in her foot. She fell down a gravel slope when she was doing some Girl Scout teaching, and so she had a removable cast, because her theory is you should massage your broken ankle, and the circulation will improve such that it will heal quicker. So she got a removable cast. She take it off every day, and she gave her foot a little foot massage. And there's this guy at the school I was teaching. His name was Russell, and he was Katie's father. And so one day he did some kind of healing work. So one day he was giving Lady a healing treatment on her ankle, and apparently they hit it off. So she ended up leaving me, which was yeah. So my I'd already been divorced once. My first wife had an 18-month-old baby who I adopted. Her biological father was from India, and he didn't want to do anything with her. So when she was 3 years old, I adopted her. And now she's like 9 or 10, and she comes out to live with me over the summer and go to summer school. And she really liked Lady, because Lady was good with children. And so her name was Jasmine. So one day Jasmine and I went to, I had bought this kind of hippie van, a white, like camper for only $600, And I looked at, and my Lady had a blue Mazda, so she, I had it at the shop, so the lady was going to drop Jasmine and I off at school, and then we're going to ride the van home, because it was supposed to be ready. When we drive home, the lady had taken everything she owned out of the house and just disappeared. So Jasmine and I were kind of like in shock, because she had lots of posters, and she had like a medicine drum on the wall, and we're walking around, and Jasmine opens the drawer and she says, "She even took the cheese grater." So that was, but see, Jyotish-wise, there's a thing called Rahu, and I had gone into my Rahu period, and that always starts with loss of a loved one. And so Lady was the loved one I lost. And I thought, well, it's better to lose her than to lose my daughter, So
What's Rahu?
Well, Rahu, there's 2 nodes of the moon. So there's Rahu and Ketu are part of the cycles of the moon or something. So, but anyway, and so Rahu is, like you can have Jupiter in the first or Rahu in the fourth. And so based on, supposedly I had a well-placed Rahu, but what's crazy, it's a time period in your chart where it's like being on a roller coaster. Just when things start to be getting good, it changes. So I really...
No, that's terrible news.
I know, I hated Rahu. But it was,
You know what? I think I went through that in when I was 20, so about 2 decades ago.
Okay. Well, after Rahu comes Jupiter, which is a 12-year Mahadasha. And Jupiter, it's kind of beautiful because you keep expecting things to change, but in Jupiter it doesn't, so it's it's kind of like Rahu prepared you to appreciate Jupiter more, And so I'm in my Jupiter period right now, which is, really good for me. But yeah, it's like when I was first married, I was in the middle of a 10-year moon where nothing I attempted would bring me fulfillment. It was like, because my moon is in the 8th house, which is your vulnerable position. So that was pretty bad. I kept, graduated from college, got a job, lost it first year. Got another job, lost it the next year. Got a house, lost it. It was like, it was just one failure after another, year after year, and you're thinking, what is wrong with me? Like your self-esteem starts taking a hit. But then the 9th year, we actually learned about Jyotish, and I met a woman who, right when I started my Mars Mahadasha, I met my first wife, and I was 32 and she was 29, and we were in love, and we got married, and she promised me, she had a 18-month-old baby. We lived together for a year, and then when the baby was 3 years old, we had a wedding, and I adopted her with the idea that when it came time, I wanted a child of my own, So, but there's this thing they say in India, you want children to be 5 years apart from each other because it takes 5 years for their emotional body to develop. So Jasmine was only 3, so we were waiting 2 years before we had another kid. Well, when it came time to have a kid, my wife, she started backing out and saying, no, I don't want a kid. No. We'll be happy. And then she even came into, we'll be happier if we're not married. Well, what happened is she had a big nervous breakdown. She had a business failure and lost $250,000 with her family's business, and it gave her a nervous breakdown. And so I had to take care of her and the baby and the business for 6 months while she went away and got her head on straight, healed from her nervous breakdown. Doesn't that feel good when you do this brush down?
Oh yeah.
Kind of like tingly. It's just kind of energetic. Okay, so roll over. And we'll start on the head and neck area.
Yeah, I got a real bad kink on my shoulder area. Am I okay where I'm at?
Yep, that's fine. Your feet warm? You want a blanket over them?
If you have one,
Yeah.
sure, yeah.
I think going forward, I'd like it to be silent without talking.
Sure.
Thanks. How do you want my hands?
Just relax, yeah.
I think, hold on, can you hand me my clip?
Okay.
I'm gonna clip my hair up because it's kind of getting,
Hold on.
yeah, hold on.
Okay.
So,
At some point, if I work on your head, I might need it.
oh, okay, you can take it off the board. Easy.
Neck or shoulder?
Just all of it, just
Okay, so
just not as
I'm digging in more
as
things.
as aggressive, just a little gentler.
Sure.
That's a lot better.
Yeah, basically, you don't touch the breasts unless intuitively you get the thought, oh, I need to or should, and then you have to ask permission. But
Okay.
I don't, that's important right
Well,
now.
I have no problem if you want to.
Okay.
It's not a problem with me. So I was thinking about I was going to probably, with your permission, post the video on my YouTube channel. And the upside about that to you is, the title of the video would be ipress massage. And, you know, just to let people know how it happens and just aware of the term, what it is, because I've never heard of it before. You know, publicity is what I mean, you know, potential business.
Yeah, it's funny.
But I respect you, and whatever you say goes.
It might not.
I wouldn't do anything against your wishes.
No, it might be good to just do it another time where I, you know, just telling some personal stories.
Well, your voice is so low, though. I don't think anyone can really understand.
Well, you know, it's funny. I actually said I'm the best kept secret in town.
Right. So yeah, I mean, with exposure, you'll get more customers, more business, more money. You understand what I'm trying to say. But no, honestly, your tone of your voice and your volume of your voice is very low and soft. I don't think the video even picked it up.
Well, yeah, why don't you just email me a copy of it and I'll look at it and see if that seems like
Sure.
I want it.
Definitely.
Want it published. And again, if we were
Yeah,
going
we can
to
do another one.
Yeah.
Do you have my email address? Do you have a business card?
Yeah, but it's for this. I wrote a booklet last year on how to improve and regain your memory. So it's got my email for my memory revitalization program.
I saw Graciela yesterday, and she talked to me more in depth about my Geotish astrology reading that she did for me a long time ago, and she just gave me a couple points about it. And so I met with her so she could go into more detail, and she showed me a visual diagram of my chart placement. And
Yeah, she seems really talented.
I invited her to the community potluck on Sunday here.
Yeah, do you think so, girl?
Not this week, but possibly next. I really hope so. She agreed to tentatively.
Well, it's good, like I said, to have an ally there.
Yeah.
When you're getting stared down by.
I go everywhere alone. I live alone, and everywhere I go in my life, I go alone. I date myself, actually. I take myself on dates. I mean, I want to go somewhere, and I don't know anyone who will go with me, so I'll just go alone. And I will enjoy myself, and I will love myself, and I will feed myself, and I will date myself. And I will take pictures with myself, well, selfies. So,
That's good.
and I've been doing this for years.
Yeah, I'm pretty much I'm happy to be by myself. But again, I do avoid crowds.
Yeah, I remember you said that. Now this is different. When I get professional massages, like paid, you know, like lots of money and like etc., they never touch my stomach area. They do my back, but they never do my front.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
I don't see anything wrong with the stomach area. It definitely needs to be, you know, this is your digestion, you know.
Yeah.
It needs to be massaged.
You're supposed to go in one direction, like the way the colon moves or something like that. But I actually, when I press myself, I get in and I can.
You have
tissue,
chakras.
Tissue that needs to be broken up. So near the belly button. So
you can text me your email address, I can go home and send that video to you.
Sure, yeah. Sure. See, now,
I'll remind you before I leave.
your YouTube channel, like, what other posts do you put up?
Well, I've been working on this channel for several years now, and I have accumulated about 500 to 600 videos. Lots of different subjects.
Oh, yeah.
I sing songs. I grew up in performing arts school, so I do a lot of creative things. As an artist, I have some teaching videos. I was discussing with Ed the other day, about that. I've done a lot of those myself, and just a lot of different things. I read the Bible. I'm a disciple of Christ, so I spread the good news to whoever wants to watch and listen, and spiritual kind of things. And I have like videos like this when I do things. I have another one I published with a yoga session that I did. It was called Yin Yang Yoga, and I videotaped it just like I'm videotaping this massage session. So I just get, a lot of different, I read books, I read chapters from books, and as I mentioned earlier, sometimes the book I read from is the Bible, and I talk about my thoughts about being a Christian, and just whatever content of the book that I read. It doesn't necessarily have to be the Bible. It can be other books like Marianne Williamson and Eckhart Tolle. Poetry, I do lots of different things.
Now, do you have like
It's just a personal expression thing.
a certain number of followers or anything?
I have a little over, I have like 1,500.
That's fair.
I videotaped the Renaissance Fair the other week when I went.
Oh, yeah.
And I also went to like a German carpentry Amish furniture store in Minnesota, and I videotaped that. So sometimes I kind of walk around places and videotape, like visit the store with me or visit the fair with me.
That's cool.
I'm planning in the future sometime soon to go to the Des Moines Art Museum.
Oh, yes. It's interesting you mentioned Christianity, because the guy that invented ipress, he felt that this was what Jesus did with hands-on healing.
Oh, okay.
Though again, if you were the Son of God and you were doing this, it would probably be a lot better.
Have you heard of the term spirit guide?
Yeah.
Well, ever since I was a child, I've had one spirit guide with me like my whole life, and I've seen visions of him. He's shown himself to me and things like that. And most recently, he told me with his voice in a dream that his name was Yahshua. Well, now this is Jesus' real name. And he said, my name is Yahshua. So I've been calling Jesus Yahshua ever since that dream.
Nice. That's reasonable.
Apparently he wants to be called that because he showed up to me in a dream to correct me about it. So it's a very personal reason why I identify with that religion, I guess you could say, because of that.
Yeah, I was raised with Presbyterian church until my parents decided they wouldn't want to go. They didn't want to go anymore. Like, why are we going if you're not going? But,
Well, with so many different religions, how do you know which one is right? The true religion, just as Donald Trump's daughter Ivanka, I think she had some sort of quote like, "It doesn't matter what you believe as long as it benefits you, as long as it makes you feel good and it helps your life. It doesn't really matter if what you believe is true or not, as long as it's helping you." You can have, believe imaginary things, believe things that aren't necessarily true. If they're helping you, great. there's nothing wrong with believing them. Kind of like mind over matter or the placebo effect.
Well, I have a very clear, knowledge that I'm Christian, and if I say silently the Lord's Prayer over and over and over till I'm actually so present that I'm saying it, perfectly, then that's when I've opened up my channel to God.
Wonderful.
And then once then I can ask for healing or help or whatever I need.
That's great.
Yeah, so try that.
I'm gonna try to do that. That's inspirational.
Yeah.
I do say the Lord's Prayer occasionally, just when I don't really know what else to pray and I just want to pray.
No, it's totally.
For me, it's a respect. I am practicing respect to Christ when I recite the Lord's Prayer because He's prayed that word for word.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. Like, I do TM, I meditate, but then if I want to connect to God, I just start repeating the Lord's Prayer 3 or 4 times until I'm present because sometimes halfway through you'll stop saying it or you start thinking about something. Anyway, so that's my way to connect, and then once you're connected, you can communicate to God, and ask for guidance.
Yeah, it's kind of the key that unlocks the doorway.
Yeah.
That's really great. I completely agree. That's very beautiful.
So one lady invented this move, Katie.
It feels good.
Here's what she invented. She like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like cat. She calls it cat's paws.
Yeah.
You know how cats will.
Yeah.
And that's the cool thing about ipress is an open-bodied knowledge. You can, you can add things to it if you are moved.
Do you do any kind of preparation before your client comes? Like, I had Reiki done on me, and she does like a preparation before the session. She rubs your hands together and makes like a ball of like chakra energy in your hands. Apparently your hands have chakras.
No, I just make sure that I'm early and I put a clean sheet down and my hands are ready to go. And then you don't really need much preparation. I used to think, maybe I should say the Lord's Prayer before I do it. This isn't a religious practice.
Yeah.
Unless this guy is belief that maybe this is what Jesus did, So. But I've worked with hundreds of people, and it just keeps working. Well, yeah, very fine skin, and you can see why you're so sensitive, because you're delicate in a way.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely, tissue that needs to be worked through. So that could mean that you're holding something. In fact, there's a little red mark right there. I call those toxicity marks, where because the lymph is stagnant in that area, it's a sign that there's some toxins near there. So it's just something to be aware of in terms of ipress lore. And the cool thing, like if you get it in terms of what ipress is all about, and then it took me almost 9 months of regular treatments before, and then I was like, I need a massage. So then I started working on myself, and so then once you start working on yourself, you can do that while you're reading a book or while you're watching television, or one night I was reading one hand holding the book, the other hand ipressing my armpit, and I found this lymph node that was as hard as a kidney bean. And when I squeezed it, it was like really painful. So I kept going back to that same place 2 or 3 nights, and it dissolved and went away. You know, so. But the point is, you have to explore to find where that, you know, lymph node that is stagnant. You know. So I have all sorts of stories. Again, I was 42 when I started ipressing for 24 years. So, you know, is this painful right there?
No, it feels good.
Okay.
But when I see you, just like when I witnessed you doing Ed the other day,
Yeah. Right.
and the way that you, I guess for lack of better words, approach the massage, my observations is what you're doing is like you're kneading. It's like you're kneading dough.
Right.
And when you knead dough, you get the hard spots, you know, more smooth.
Well, see, the theory is ipress works connective tissue, which
Feels
attaches
really good.
muscles to the bone, is a system that stores emotional trauma. Who knew? You know, so we're not working on the nerve level, we're working on the tissue, connective tissue, and I was going to say one time I had a couple that wanted to do an ipress, and started working on that, and they were really enthused. And then next time I'll give you a treatment, and then I'm going to have you work on half of the back, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, they were getting to that, all of a sudden they were both working on me at the same time. And the woman was the craziest thing. She took her forearm and she invented her own little ipress move where she was rubbing my leg with her forearm. And I had a vision that her arm was white light, like spiritual, you know. It was like she was an angel or something. It was pretty unfortunately, they had to move away in North Carolina, so we didn't get to continue. But you know, it's like everyone has their own ipress gifts, you know, to share. Okay, I'll just brush it down gently. Okay, you're done. You always have to say that you're done, or else you'll keep eye-pressing the person in your mind after you leave.
Good tip.
What's that?
Good tip.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Very important.
that was great.
Oh, good, I'm glad you.
Thank you so
Sure.
much.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to share. And look, you didn't have to pay $100. Oh man. Make sure, you know, I said drink that water, and you should drink that whole bottle of water within the next half hour or so.
Okay.
This upstairs area used to be a church school, and except for this room, it's called the meditation room. And but Ed painted over. There's like children's murals on the wall. He painted over all those, and he put up new walls. So we have 3 massage bays. One massage is for 2 people, so you can do couples massages in the big room.
That's great. Thanks for watching my iPress massage.